What makes a bourbon great for a newcomer to whiskey? Stick around and you're sure to find out.
Cynple Whiskey, Cyncere. Here to keep it 100. What's the ABV? Keep it simple. Cynple Whiskey. Be sweeter.
Welcome to another episode of the Cynple Whiskey Show. I'm Cyncere, and tonight we're jumping into all things beginner bourbon. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications to stay up to date on all things Cynple Whiskey. Let's get started. So when I first started out, I had no one guiding me on this sometimes complex journey. While I did watch a few videos, I was so eager to get started, I found myself not thinking in terms of palate and focused on just buying stuff that I was seeing in videos. The question I should have been asking myself is, what makes a bourbon perfect for beginners? For a whiskey novice, it's a good idea to start out with bourbons that are approachable, smooth, not overly complex, not extremely high in proof. Now, my list isn't just a random assortment. These bourbons are handpicked for their approachability as well as their smoothness on the palate. First up, we got the one and only Buffalo Trace bourbon. It's perfect for anyone that's just starting out into whiskey. With a well-balanced flavor, you get caramel, vanilla, a hint of spice. It's a warm welcome for any beginner. You're probably gonna get sick of hearing me say this, but I refer to this as my first love of bourbon, given that this was the first one that I started out on that really had me over the edge, willing to go towards this journey that I'm now on. Unfortunately, this is an allocated bottle here, which means you can only pick it up during special releases, and it usually comes with a purchase limit restriction of 1 bottle per customer per visit. Next on the list, Maker's Mark 46. I could have just went with regular Maker's Mark. I personally like the 46 better with its longer aging and special French oak staves. Put it this way, if regular Maker's Mark is a sweet hug, Maker's 46 is a sweet hug with a cherry on top. It's like a dessert in a glass. Maker's Mark is known for being sweet due to being made with soft red winter wheat instead of rye. With its sweeter profile and smooth finish, Maker's 46 is definitely a good beginner bourbon. Now, granted, the bottle you see here beside me is the cash strength. My 46 is upstairs in the cabinet. Some love it, some hate it, but if you start to look at bottles for anything more than a sampling tool to better find out what you like, then you're in the wrong line of business. Now let's talk about Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. Kentucky bourbon with rich, full-bodied taste, offering a mix of vanilla, subtle spice, and the oh-so-sweet chocolate on the palate. This bourbon is like the James Bond of the bunch, sophisticated, rich, but a bit mysterious. With the double oaking process, it has layers of flavors to explore for someone new trying to figure out the palates that they actually enjoy in a bourbon. I know some folks that absolutely hate double oaked bourbons, and then there's people like me who absolutely love them. This is one that I go through a lot. It's been a favorite of mine since the beginning. Double the oak, double the pleasure. And for those on a budget, don't worry, I got you. Evan Williams Bottled in Bond. This is a budget-friendly option with a straightforward flavor profile, making it perfect for beginners. It's great for sipping neat, mixing it in cocktails, and it comes in at just around $16 a bottle. So for some of you guys who may be new to some of these terms, the Bottled in Bond or B&B designation is one that holds a significant standard in the bourbon industry. Must be aged for a minimum of 4 years, must be bottled at precisely 100 proof or 50% ABV, and must be made by a single distiller. Evan Williams White Label, smooth sipping without breaking the bank. Now let's turn our attention to a classic, Elijah Craig Small Batch. Elijah Craig is like the wise old sage of bourbon. It's got that classic bourbon charm with a milder taste. Another bourbon perfect for sipping neat or mixing up in your favorite cocktail. At 94 proof, it does have a milder taste, which is great when you're first starting out. I haven't been stocking this one as much as I used to, given I've been enjoying some of the private batches or the store picks, as well as some of the barrel proof expressions. But it is still one of my A1s from day one. Speaking of my A1s, if you made it this far, it's time to kick it up a notch. Wild Turkey 101. Although it is a bit higher in the proof, Wild Turkey 101 offers a bold, flavorful experience without sacrificing the approachability. I was always amazed at just how much I enjoyed this when I was starting out. I felt like there was always stereotypes around it just because it was cheap and that it was such a common household name in terms of whiskey. But believe you me, it's not just your cheap run-of-the-mill bourbon. This is a go-to bourbon for most people in the whiskey world at the moment. Great price, always available, higher proof, and it has a bold flavor on it. It's like that adventurous friend who always brings excitement to the party. Let's dive into a classic, aged to perfection, Knob Creek 9. Such a well-balanced bourbon. This is like the bourbon equivalent of a fine wine. Delivers more of an intense but still approachable flavor. Aged 9 years, coming in at 100 proof, what's not to like? The next one is one of my absolute favorites, no matter what stage of your bourbon journey you're in. Distilled at Buffalo Trace, aged at A. Smith Bowman here in Fredericksburg, Virginia, using Buffalo Trace Mash Bill number 1, John J. Bowman. This offers a different dimension of flavor without being too overpowering. Super smooth, great sipper, very enjoyable. Some consider this an even better alternative to Blanton's. Like a symphony in a glass, and finally, rounding out our list, Old Forester 100. Well-regarded bourbon with a straightforward and balancing taste, suitable for sipping or mixing in a cocktail. This is a classic bourbon with a bit of a kick, providing that extra proof for a bolder experience. Offering at least 100 reasons to love it, I have not met an Old Forester that I did not like. I could have put any of the Whiskey Row series on here and it would have made a great sipper for all walks of life as well, the 1920, 1910, and so on. These bourbons offer a range of profiles, allowing even a novice whiskey drinker to explore different flavors, characteristics, without being overwhelmed. As you gain more experience and develop your palate, you can then venture into more complex and aged bourbons with higher proofs. So if you enjoyed this video, ever so slightly tap that like button, subscribe for more Cynple Whiskey goodness, and leave a comment with your favorite beginner bourbon. I'd love to hear your thoughts on my list as well. Remember, enjoy the journey, find the bourbon that speaks to you, and keep it simple. Cheers.